Hello and welcome to Collecting Clicks with Lauren. Today's subjects are on the board.
The real issue here is that a lot of people believe that someone not revealing that they're trans is a grave moral wrong in itself. I consider that idea to be transphobic. Let me explain why. 9 times out of 10, being trans is only a relevant detail when you have to go to the doctor's office to be tested for something that specifically involves your anatomy and genetics. In daily life, your anatomy and genetics are not visible to anyone except for people with like x-ray vision. So many trans women have gotten extensive surgeries to the point at which your experience with them, both in casual conversation and even in the bedroom, is indistinguishable from an experience with a cis woman. So, in practice, this necessity for women to disclose their chromosomes to every man they ever meet is about as important in the grand scheme of things as her revealing that she has O positive blood, as in the fact doesn't change anything about your fundamental experience with her. I guess you could say that it's important for trans women to disclose their chromosomes because they cannot bear children. But why do trans women have to do this when discussing whether you want kids or not before you've even had sex is certainly not required for infertile cis women? Socially speaking, whether you're trans or cis, you simply don't have to bring up anything pertaining to having a family for every one-night stand you have. That's creepy. The most egregious talking point I hear from people is that trans women have to disclose whether they're trans or not, such that they don't manipulate a man's sexuality. That is just nonsense, as having sex with a trans woman doth not maketh a straight man gay, as it must needs be remarked that it's pretty straight for a man to have sex with a woman. Not only is the idea false, but it's very obviously false, to the point at which I'm inclined to believe that people who call these men gay for being attracted to trans women instinctively know that it's only men who have heterosexual attraction that are attracted to trans women. I mean, how could you possibly fathom that any actually gay man would be attracted to someone who looks like this? It's crazy. They're just using the label gay to emasculate and distance themselves from men who date trans women, so they don't have to take on the stigma that these men face. So if not revealing that you're trans to someone is not bad in itself, and certainly not akin to assault, then why should trans women do it anyways? Well, I'm inclined to believe that it's still an important part of consent. It's just best practice to reveal to a partner that you're trans when you know it would be a deal breaker for them, even if it's only a deal breaker because of their prejudice. I know many of you will say it's wrong to discriminate, and while I agree that discrimination is wrong, this is not a case like, for instance, a bakery turning down a gay couple for a wedding cake. This is someone's body, not a public business, and they have the right to be as discriminatory as they want when choosing who they want to have sex with. Also, I don't want to say that everyone who doesn't want to have sex with a trans woman is necessarily a bigot. They might just have strong arbitrary preferences, just like people who only want to have sex with Scorpios and Sagittariuses. People can be weird like that, but the burden is on these people with these specific deal breakers to reveal their arbitrary preferences to their sexual partners. Trans women just aren't mind readers, at least as far as I know. So if a guy doesn't want to sleep with a trans woman, he should communicate that very clearly. And if he doesn't communicate that clearly and consents to sex, he has no right to feel angry when he finds out that woman is trans. So, if revealing that you're trans to your partner is best practice and should be part of the important process of consenting in a sexual encounter, then why should we excuse people's actions when they don't follow this practice? The reality is that best practice is not possible in real life situations. Cis people demanding that trans people must always reveal that they're trans every single time is kind of insensitive. As I said, you could talk about breast practice. As I said, we can talk about best practice and moral philosophy until we're blue in the face. But when a man is towering over you, making sexual advances, you might be in a very precarious situation where you might be killed if you say that you are trans. I remember watching a Cat Black video where she explains a situation like that from her life, where a man made advances on her, and she knew that at some point she had to tell him that she was trans, just out of best practice, but didn't want to literally risk her life to do so.
I remember the first time that I recognized that I was passing. This guy had asked me out on a date and I thought that he knew. I genuinely thought that he knew that I was trans. And I didn't know that he didn't know until he tried to finger me. And I remember that in that situation, I felt like I needed to get out of that sort of intimate space and go home before I had the conversation. Because this guy was like a big biker dude, because my college tastes were very questionable. But he was a big biker dude, and I knew that if I talked to him about this, it could potentially end in him physically attacking me. And so for that reason, I wanted to be safe and make sure that I could have that conversation in a way where I wouldn't be hurt. And so I went home and I text messaged him, and of course he responded with, "If I ever see you again, I'm gonna fuck you up."
Even Doherty recognizes that in every situation, we must weigh any moral wrong from not revealing a piece of information about oneself against the possibility of facing some serious harm. He also recognizes the role of intent. Mostly trans women don't intend to gloss over their identity to get laid. They just have to protect themselves sometimes when they could be in grave danger. So by Doherty's own reasoning, their actions are justified. This is not to say there aren't young trans women who get excited that their partner didn't know they were transgender, even when their partner was transphobic. But young trans women and girls who do this type of thing are not very respected by grown adult trans women like Kat Black.
I've seen some trans women make content like this where it's like they're bragging about straight men being attracted to them, which, like, baby girl, find your standards. That's all I have to say. Not every single man who talks to me is a man that I'm interested in, so I don't really believe that every single man I talk to needs to know that I'm transgender, but I do personally believe that the men that I'm interested in, who I plan on being intimate with, do need to have that information so that they can make the decision for themselves.
So this idea that every trans woman has morally questionable intentions to seduce straight men is just not true and deeply, deeply rooted in transphobia. I hope I've made my points clear in this video. There's a high chance that I probably left something out or misspoke in a way that might get me canceled on Twitter, so let me summarize. It is best practice for trans women to reveal that they are trans to potential sexual partner, who they know would not engage in sex with them if they knew that they were trans. And not doing that when it doesn't pose any danger to them in some situations is morally questionable, but it's only about as morally questionable as not revealing that you dye your hair blonde to your partner, and certainly not as morally questionable as a grave wrong like assault, even if it was gravely morally wrong. In many cases, it just isn't safe for trans women to reveal that they are trans, lest they be killed. And certainly in these cases, any moral wrong that occurs by not revealing that they're trans is outweighed by the threat of being murdered.
So, in regards to heterosexual men will be attracted to this woman and gay men would not be, I just thought we'll get the perspective of a gay man on that subject.
What's up, everybody? My name is Amir Eldam and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to watch and react to this dating show. I don't know. We're reacting to a couple, right? And the title of this video is My Girlfriend is Trans, but I'm Not Gay. Now, how that makes sense, I don't know, but I came across this video and I was like, I'm not even watching this right now. I want a live reaction. We're gonna do just watch this together because there's a lot to unpack. So without further ado, let's just dive right into this.
This is Jessie. He fell in love with Cassidy.
I'm a proud trans woman.
Jessie was raised in a strict conservative family.
One thing I was definitely taught was a natural woman is who you're supposed to be with, and if you're with anybody else, you're gonna be out of this household and out of this family.
Okay, well, off the bat, this makes sense why he thinks he's straight. For him to say, but I'm not gay, this is a lot, and I hate to like use this word, but this reeks of a lot of internalized homophobia where you're not even considering yourself one of them, one of the gays, because even though like what you do in bed.
Jessie, and this is my partner Cassidy, who's a trans woman.
Jessie and I met off of Instagram. The first thing I saw was muscles, and so I was like, okay,
I actually messaged her and I let her know that she's beautiful. We were about 3 or 4 messages in, and she said, hey, I just want to let you know that, you know, I'm sorry if it changes the dynamic of things, but I'm a trans woman.
I love that she disclosed it off the bat. Started to get feelings, went right for it, and just disclosed like, hey, I am a trans woman. So kudos to her.
And I said, no, sweetheart. You don't have to apologize for that. You're just a special kind of woman. It was a beautiful moment, and we kicked it off ever since.
I think the main misconception that people have with our relationship is that he's gay. I've received the whole load of hate comments.
I don't think the misconception is that, like, I don't think the hate's coming from, it's not he's gay. That's not the misconception. I think it's the idea that y'all are in denial. It almost seems like a joke, and I did more research, and it's definitely not a joke. I want to make sure it wasn't a meme, but no, this is legit. The man's gay. Like, if you're a guy, like, even though, like, yeah, like, you know, I've said she because it looks like a she. Like, if I said he in public, like, I'm gonna be looked like I'm stupid. Yeah, like, on the outside looking in, it looks like a regular straight couple, but the person is a modified male. If you're a male fondling with other males on a regular and you love that, there's a word for that. And it ain't straight.
This one says, sir, lipstick and heels doesn't make you a woman. You can't change biology, you can't change chromosomes. You are just an insecure guy who didn't accept his body, so you did plastic surgery. Keep living in your fantasy.
I mean, to each his own. Like, if you think that's a hate comment, by all means, sure. But, I mean, they're not wrong.
This is a best friend of mine who's been through with me through all points of my life, so we'll give him a call and see what he has to say, because he was reluctant on our relationship in the beginning. Jordan, what's up?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
So, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about my relationship, because I know it's been a lot. How did you first feel about hearing that I was dating a woman like Cassidy that's trans?
I was, definitely a little shocked and apprehensive. It got blown up back here at home, and knowing you my whole life, I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
One of the first things that probably came out was probably he's gay.
People definitely have that perspective on it. I was just very much confused.
I was confused too. Cassidy educated me and said, no, honey, you're straight. Don't you look at me like a woman? I said, yeah. She's like, so where do you find the word gay? And that's when I realized, yeah, I'm not gay at all. I'm an alpha male that's attracted to femininity, and that's exactly what I got right here.
What was your first impression?
We're going back. Hold on. Look at that man's face. He's with the rest of us. That girl's lying to you. You're attracted to feminine men. You're gay. Like, just because you're attracted to feminine doesn't mean you're automatically straight. You're straight if you like to fondle with the female biology. That person that you're with, like, this is no hate. This is like no one's hating on you. Like, love, don't judge, whatever. Do you. You're grown. Y'all a grown couple. Do what you want to do. But we can't confuse and change definitions. Like, you're not a straight male because a person that's straight is biological sex male that likes to be with biological sex woman. This is two biological males. This is not a straight couple. It's mental gymnastics because they're changing definitions and changing meanings. Like, literally, it's not that hard to say that y'all are a gay couple.
Out right here.
What was your first impression of hearing that Jesse was dating a trans girl?
I didn't know that he was open to having a relationship with a trans girl. So it was shocking to me at first. And it was new for all of us, but when I saw how happy Jesse was, all my transgressions went out the window. And I realized it doesn't matter to me. It's what makes Jesse happy.
I mean, that's a real friend. That's a real friend. That's an honest, like, this couple. It's a real friend. It's an honest answer. And I mean, I'm with that. Like, I'm not against this relationship, but I'm against how they're calling themselves because it's changing definitions. It's confusing people and it's nonsense. Y'all, why am I watching this?
And that's it. Bye.